Welcome back, fellow fishing fanatics. I'm Michigan Troller, and today I'm going to go through and show you how I keep my bait alive from when I go between fishing trips. Normally I can keep them alive for multiple weeks at a time. Don't have to change the water every day like you do when you have them in the buckets. So it's pretty nice being able just to throw them in the little bait tank, have them go, scoop them out when I need to, go out for a trip, come back and put the rest into there. So I'm going to show you kind of my do-it-yourself filter and my little tank I have and what I use to keep them alive. Alright, so this is how I have the bottom of the bucket set up. First I go through and put these scrubbies all down in the bottom. I do 2 layers, put 1 layer going all the way around it, and then I stack another one right on top. And then I have another 3 going around like that and have a little spot, so that's where the tube that goes down into it that sucks the water up and out, that's where that'll go. So you want to make sure it's not plugged up or in the way. This piece right here will go right down into there and then put into that, and that'll be your water going out for it. And then that's the first kind of idea, is to put the scrubbies down for a filter, as well as that holds the good bacteria in it down in the bottom. I do a first 2 rows like that, and then I also have these scrubbies that I cut the corners off, and then I have those go all the way around it. Just like that, and that kind of sets it up and keeps it nice and sealed into there, if you can see that. And then I'll go through at the end and show you all what kind of material I'm using, where you can buy it at and everything. These are stuff from a quilt, making fabrics for quilts and stuff. Couple pieces I cut, there's 2 of them here. I just kind of put those together. This is like your fine filter to get, you can see it's nasty. It pulls all the small stuff out. So first you put all your scrubbies down in the bottom like that, then throw the green ones on top, and then you lay that down inside of there, try and get it all the way so it seals up the best it can all the way through the edges. And that's, you cut holes in these. I just cut little slits in them. That way when you put your tube down into there, it'll be able to get right down through and into it. So that's your next filter. This one here is a buffing pad. There's a hard side and then a softer side. I put the softer side up, put that down into there, cut all these to fit. Pretty much I went through, made a little template, and then cut it to them, each one of these, so, and then keep fitting it until it fits in there nice and snug. And then there's 2 more filters here, so one filter and then another one. These are furnace air filters. Same thing, cut a couple slits in it so the pipe can run through, and set those down. Try and get them as evenly as possible. I've actually been using this already. I drained all the water out so I could show you guys how I do it. Oh, whoops, actually I forgot. Before you put those in, you need this. It's a buffer pad, so this is the actual center ring that goes into it. I cut a hole into our slit and then got a hole into there. I throw that down into the bottom just to seal it up a little bit better, if you can see that. Just another little ring, and then put these guys down in the bottom. I actually have another one when I put these through here, and then I'll drape the last one over top of it. But you get that into there, have your piece all cut whatever size you need, so you got a little bit space on the bottom between this end and the bucket. Stick this all the way down. You hear it and feel it hit the bottom, so I know nothing's underneath it and not getting clogged. And then just pull it up a little bit and then stuff her into there. So that's your water that's going to be filtered all the way through and coming out. And then I have, like I said, this last one sits right on top. I don't have a hole drilled in this one. I just kind of drape that right over the top of all those. This one I can pull out and rinse off a lot easier than going through and pulling that all out. So that's all your filter, what it consists of. That's pulling all your nasty crud out of the water, filtering out and going through just kind of like a fish tank. Then this here is just a PVC pipe. I went through and drilled the holes all in it. I think I did every inch or half inch and half inch as well. Play around with the hole, see what works best for you. That's kind of grid pattern worked pretty good for me. Put a cap on the end of that and then throw that into here, and then that's for water will come up and through, spray all out through all your filters, and then come out through your down tube. I have this one here is just an overflow, just in case something was to plug up down to there. It don't come spilling out all the way onto the floor. I cut another hole into there and then have this water or the pipe go right back down in the bait tank. So if it does fill up, it'll just overflow it out, and then you can figure out what's clogging it up. I used the nylon or neoprene rubber pieces I cut into squares, drilled holes through them. That's using as like a gasket. And then I used some caulk tile plumbing caulk to go all the way through it just to make sure it seals up. The gasket most likely would have worked fine for a seal, but I wanted to kind of double be sure and not have water leaking all over. So that's how my filter's set up on the inside. And now I'll go through and show you how I have it all piped into the tank. So down in here you have a submersible pump. Get a 300 gallon or less. You don't need one that's really high. There's a threaded in 3/4 fitting for it. And then I got 3/4 ID pipe or hose that I ran up into the bucket. That's what's bringing your water in, and then filters through, and then this is the one that it's coming out, and then that's your overflow just in case it fills. This one backs up, it still can flow down and into your tub. And then I just threw a little 45 onto there to help get the water flow coming out into it, kind of swirling it around. That's all you really need for those. I'll go through at the end and show you all the fittings you need, the elbows, all your threaded fittings, show you what you need to do all this. But that's what you got into here. Pretty much the water's pumping up into your filter. It filters all through there, comes out, back and in. That's good flow. I have it into this tote over there that I keep my bait in. I'm gonna go into a bigger tub, but if you want to keep it cheap and easy, doing it inside your house, not planning on getting a lot of minnows, a tote works just fine. So I have some minnows into there, some of my perch and speck minnows and walleye minnows. That's what I generally fish for and keep in between. I'm going to start trapping some minnows, and I'm going to go to a bigger tank just because of how expensive minnows are getting around here. But I want to get my tanks all going and filters ready to go, so when I do start trapping, I know they'll stay alive. But one last thing I forgot, that Country Crock butter container, you want to get one of those put around it. That'll keep the minnows from getting sucked into your pump. If you don't, you'll have minnows all chopped up and on the side of where the water pulls it through. So go through, drill little holes in it, 1/8 holes. I taped it up as well. You can see all the holes. Just punch a bunch of holes through it. That'll keep it so the small minnows don't get sucked into there. The bigger ones you don't have to worry about it, but smaller ones you do. So I'll plug all this in, show you it working. So there's don't know if you can see it the best. Let me grab a light. See all the holes drilled in it. sprays the water all through the filters, and then it goes out the tube. That gets it all filtered through, comes down, out and in. I use the fish crack for the additive. That helps out with the irons, all the stuff that you have in your water, keeps them alive a little bit better and longer, and then also the foam off. Otherwise, when you have all the circulating in the water, there'll be foam all on the top, and you won't be able to see down into there, and it stops the oxygen from going into the water. So a very small amount of the foam off, we'll keep that away, and then use a quarter cup, quarter to a half, depending on how much water you have, and that'll help give it that blue tinted water, but also help keep them alive. And these stay alive for weeks, many weeks in between. You do want to feed them, and I use crushed up crackers. Just crush up some of them, throw them into there. I'll stop the filter, the pump when I go through, just because it gets nasty. So I'll wait, feed them, and then I'll clean the water out when I get ready to do that. Otherwise, you got all the nasty crackers floating through and getting sucked in. So that should be how I have this all set up, and how you can keep your bait alive for in between your trips, and help cut down on the cost of all the price of minnows going up. I got a bigger air pump with six outlets that you can go through and add more lines to. So if I do start running more bait tanks, I can hook up more onto there. With the stones that you get, I found these ones to work a lot better. Either get ones that have the stone all the way through it, whether it be that one, or if you get the round one here, these ones put off a lot better bubbles than the ones that have the plastic ring around them. Also, these float right down to the bottom and get quite a bit of bubbles in there, and that's what you want, all those bubbles in there. So what I have for the bottom is an 18-gallon Sterlite tote. The lid for it, you want a lid on there, otherwise when you got bigger minnows, they kind of get rambunctious in there and try to jump out. So I cut that so it'd fit onto there. Cut a couple pieces of 2x4 so it sits right on the back and the bucket sits onto there. So these here are just the little scrubbies, first ones that I have down. Get them anywhere, just a plastic scrubbies. I got these on Amazon, picked up a big package of them so I could do multiple filters. That's your bottom one. And then I got a whole box of these regular green scrubbies. Hard to see, what are they? Scouring pads, what are they, scrubby? Get some of those. These are ones I cut the angles on so they fit all around. This is the cotton batting. Get this from any of the sewing stores. Pretty much it comes in a big old sheet like this, and like I said, I made a template, went around, cut my holes out of it, fit them to the buckets. And that's your fine filter. That's what's pulling a good chunk of the stuff out, and that's why it looks so nasty. That's the one that you have just on top of your scrubbies. And then go through with the buffer pad. I got this one from Menards. If you can see and read that. Big old 17-inch buffing pad. This is the next one that you have above the fine filter. This one pops right out. Go through, cut the hole in it, cut that around, make that fit. Next one is the air furnace filter. This is 1 inch thick. Comes in a big long roll of it. take this out just like all the other ones, rolled it out, cut a hole and cut the circle in it, and then cut the slits in the center of it for your hole for the pipe to run through. And these are the three on top. That's what your filter all consists of. These all come in big rolls, so you can use them for, get multiple years out of them and cut chunks out of it. Now I'll go through and show you all the fittings I have.